Welcome to another bonus segment of Get Geeky with Kiki. In this bonus episode, JC and I took on the 2018 Swedish film Draug. This is a much more in-depth review that was previously on our Patreon, but we have released back into the wild. This is not a totally spoiler-free episode, so be sure to watch the film first if you want to be surprised. Our reviews, and this is the first one, we're going to start out with a little bit of what we're going to be doing. So our reviews will feature mostly gothic, supernatural, found footage, animal, and psychological horror. And if JC doesn't agree with that, tough shit.
There might also be some comedy horrors in there. 'Cause
Okay. I left that one out, but that's it. Yeah.
really, as long as horror is in the category, it might come up.
So here's the thing. When watching horror, I personally am always looking for certain characteristics and how they are used in new and inventive ways. Those characteristics are mystery, suspense, and fear. And I'm most satisfied when each builds upon the other. So the mystery is held up by suspense, and fear comes naturally when I'm worried about what's going to happen to the main character caught up in that mystery. So if I don't care about the character, then I wind up just laughing my ass off when people could die. So there are some tropes that hopefully JC and I are going to try to avoid, though, or at least ones that we want to see in a completely different way. And those are jump scares, which, if they're done right, they can be fun. The good old no cell phone coverage. Oh, God. That's so stupid in any movie. But anyway, abandoned places, unless they're integral to the story, like in The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
Vengeful spirits, unless there's some kind of thought put into the aftermath of knowing that there is life after death. That's usually my biggest problem with a vengeful spirit movie. The worst one, death by sex, which is so 1970s. I'm thoroughly over that. And of course, the one that I really hate the most, which is the final girl, which I only like when it's Ripley from Aliens. Hopefully, JC, you agree with those tropes that are just overdone, and we're going to try to avoid those.
We'll avoid talking too much about them.
Well, unless they're done right. So sometimes they're done really well.
I'm trying to think what my ideal perfect jump scare is. I think the best jump scare I've ever seen is from Exorcist: The Beginning.
I do not think I saw that one.
Good. Don't.
Yeah, I'm not
fucking
interested
terrifying.
in those.
And I'll talk about that story later in this review because it's going to relate to part of this review. So,
Okay. The movies that I've enjoyed that are okay, there's one in particular I can say right now, and I would love to review this movie because it's one of my all-time favorites. It's a newer movie, and it has made my top 10 films of Halloween since it came out.
okay.
And it has nothing to do with the fact that one of the lead actors is Tom Hiddleston. I swear to God, it doesn't. And that's
Okay, what is it?
Crimson Peak.
Well, I know what movie to put on the never watch
Shut
for
up.
this review thing because I pick all
Shut
the
up.
movies.
I want to review Crimson Peak. I want you to watch it if you haven't watched it. I want to do that one at some point.
Okay.
Because it has the vengeful spirits, right? And there actually is an explanation of that aftermath of knowing that there is life after death, about what happens when you recognize that there are ghosts. And then it's a jump scare movie, but it's Guillermo del Toro, and it is right up there with the other in my top 10, which is The Devil's Backbone, which was actually the first movie I ever saw that Guillermo had done. It's beautiful. And that's what Crimson Peak is. It's a beautiful movie. It's really well shot. And even the jump scares are like gorgeous. Yeah, I loved it. Had those two things. And you have to worry about no cell phone coverage because it was a gothic horror, so there weren't any.
I mean, I will say, I think the best way to get around the no cell phone coverage thing is to just say that every member in the movie has AT&T.
Hey, I have AT&T and I have really good coverage. Shut the fuck
I'm
up.
joking.
I know you aren't. Say Verizon or like Sprint. Oh God. Blech.
Wait, I have Sprint. How dare you? They have terrible coverage.
I have.
Especially in places where horror movies would happen.
There you go, like out on the mountain.
Yeah. If you're in a city, Sprint's fantastic. If you're anywhere you might die,
Forget
not in a
about it.
city, yeah, you're dead. You're no 911's coming for you, buddy.
So since this is our first one, I'm going to have a little bit of fun with you, JC. I said there'd be a little bit of a test. So our listeners are going to follow along, and hopefully they'll have the same outcome that you do. For me, the only true theme in horror, is to take the usual and make that into something unusual. And I can find that in every horror film ever made, the good ones, like the really good ones, like that are going to stay with you and get you.
Mm-hmm.
I can name a normal, everyday object or a living creature that has been turned on its ear by a horror movie. And I'm going to demonstrate.
I'm excited.
I'm going to tell you each of these objects represents a masterfully constructed film. And as soon as I say the word, you're going to be able to name the movie. And I'm going to start off a little bit easy. Shark.
Jaws 2.
Hockey mask.
Oh, okay. Friday the 13th.
Dreams.
Freddy Krueger. Nightmare on Elm Street. Wow, I'm fucking stupid.
You got, yeah, but you're getting it though. You at least can.
I'm making the connection.
Yes, sir.
Jaws was easy because like Jaws is the shark and the movie. Ugh.
Right. Okay. Prom.
Carrie.
Yep.
Okay.
Shower.
Scream.
I was going for Psycho, but
yeah, no, Psycho would be better. Yeah, I don't think I meant Psycho, honest.
Okay.
I pictured like that scene, the shower scene from Psycho, and I said Scream, and I don't know why.
They're gonna get a little bit harder.
That's what she said.
Haha. Bees.
Bees. Oh, is that they're remaking it. God damn it. What's that called? Candyman.
Yes. Lake.
I'm gonna go with Lake Placid.
Children.
Of the Corn?
Yeah. This is a hard one. Birds.
I'm gonna say the movie Birds, which I've actually never seen.
What?
Yeah, well the thing is, I already have a fear of birds.
Oh man. Well,
so I've avoided the movie where they murder everyone. I feel like it might just heighten my ridiculous fear of them.
Yeah, if you don't like birds, then don't watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
It's a masterful movie, but it is very scary if you are afraid of birds.
I mean, I'm scared shitless of dolls, but like I'll still watch movies with dolls in them.
Oh, fuck that. No. Okay, Cabin.
I'm gonna go with, and there's a lot that I could choose here, but I'm going with Evil Dead.
Yeah, see, that was the one I was thinking of.
Okay.
But Cabin in the Woods, which I have not seen yet.
Oh, that's good.
That could be a good one.
I think we'll have to review that.
Television.
Poltergeist.
Yeah. Fava Beans.
Oh, that's Hannibal Lecter.
Uh-huh.
Something with the sheep. God, Silence of the Lambs.
Yes. Okay. Typewriter.
Misery.
Oh, that's a good. See, it works on a different level too. So that's good. I was thinking of a movie that was before that.
Are you thinking of The Shining?
Yes, I love that movie.
I actually think The Misery is scarier than Shining. Like it's just a psycho fan.
Yeah. I think that there's the whole helplessness in that movie that makes it like more heightened for me as far as like the scare factor and how psycho fans can be about stuff in general.
Yeah.
But as far as actually afraid, I was definitely more afraid during The Shining, and I think it was psychological there.
Yeah, I think Misery is more of like a day-to-day thing. Like I'm more worried about that happening in my actual life than like The Shining happening in my actual life.
Right.
But I think watching The Shining is probably more terrifying.
This is the last one, and I'm hoping you get it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it's literally like my absolute favorite horror film of all time, and the word is Husky, as in the dog, a husky.
Oh, wait. Is it the one with the dentist that moves up from Miami and then he gets a sleigh dog team? Are you scared? Do you think that's a horror movie? Disney did it.
Oh, no. No.
I have no idea what horror movie has a husky in.
This movie also has one of those tropes, which is an abandoned place. I just mentioned it earlier.
Okay, that's not helping.
And the abandoned place is the Norwegian ice station where the only living creature left is the husky.
Oh, it's the thing. Oh, see, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, I love that movie so much. So much.
You know, I've only seen it like once or twice. It's a good movie. I should probably rewatch the original and the. I don't think it was a remake, was it? It was like a continuation.
It wasn't a remake. It was actually supposedly, and I didn't bother with it, to be honest. But it was supposed to go back and tell you about what happened to the Norwegians.
Oh, so it was a prequel.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I felt like I just wasn't that interested enough. Like we
Yeah,
got
because
it.
you don't care about Norwegian people.
It
I
was
get it.
well, yeah, okay. I am 1/4 Norwegian, so no, I really do care about them. But I think that in this case, when you're taking something away from the thing, if you're gonna start telling me about the reason it was so fucking creepy was because all this weird shit went down and nobody knew what happened. And then you were kind of getting bits and pieces from like logbooks and stuff, and you're like, did they just go insane? Like, what happened? Kind of like Event Horizon scares the living shit out of me and psychologically fucked with me to the point that I couldn't watch it for like I think I've only seen it once in the movie theater. That was it.
I think same, but not in the movie theater. Like during Blockbusters time, I think we rented it and I watched it, and I was probably way too young to watch it. And yeah, I just knew it had the guy from Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I love him. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he's fantastic. And then it was I could not watch that. I don't think I watched the whole thing. I got too scared. Mind you, I was probably like 9,
Yeah.
so I was allowed to be scared.
Oh yeah, that was a little bit too young for you at 9. Yeah. I truly think so. It was a very gruesome movie.
Actually, it came out in '97, so when it came out, I was 7 years old. Oh, are you saying I was too young to watch?
I'm saying that if you watched it when you were 9, you were probably a little bit too young to watch that because it
Yeah,
was a pretty
okay, not
gruesome
that
film.
my year.
Right, right, right. No, no.
Okay.
I know that they're doing either a continuation of that or possibly prequel leading up to the end mission, and I'm sort of intrigued by that. Anyway, pretty cool, right? Like how just something as simple as a typewriter suddenly becomes this really scary thing, right? And
Yeah.
that's what I love about a good horror film.
Yeah, and that sticks with you because, like, there's a lot of shitty horror movies,
Oh, many.
so many. I mean, I love them. I love bad horror. Trolls
Ooh,
2, you will always have a place in art. So we gonna talk about Draug?
now we're gonna get into it. Now you know like where we're coming from. You know a little bit more about how we absolutely love movies, and we're really excited to do this. Yay!
I'm excited.
This is how we're gonna break it down for future reference, so we don't have to go over this again. Since this is the first one, I'm gonna give you a synopsis. That's my job. I'm gonna tell you who the actors are. That's my job, and the characters, obviously. And then we're just basically gonna go down a list of a few things to go over and discuss whether or not we like them or not. And some of these movies, and this one in particular, actually talks about historical place and a very specific time period. And so it's my job to tell you guys whether or not it's all bullshit or if it's been researched really well and they did a great job with it. So some of the things we're going to be looking at in general are
Wait,
dialogue.
what's my job?
You're just supposed to watch the movie and then give your opinion as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm so
Uh,
glad I have the hard part.
if you don't know what your own opinion is, then we're all fucked.
To be fair, There's quite a few subjects I don't and
Um,
very day to day. I feel like
so,
Loki.
oh God, you're right. It varies day to
MCU
day.
Loki, not actual.
I know. I knew what you meant. I knew. I know everything when it comes to Loki, MCU Loki, and other Loki as well.
Everything?
Everyone
What's he
knows
doing
this.
right now?
Probably fucking someone up the ass by now. Yeah.
Whoa. Probably? You said you knew everything. That's
Well, like
hard.
it's the same in reality. It varies from day to day. The actual Loki is exactly the same way. Am I going to be a horse today? Am I going to be human? Am I going to be female? Am I going to get Thor in trouble? Dress him up like a female and try to get his stuff back from the giants for the millionth time? Anyway, nobody cares about any of that. So, plot twists, we'll go over that if there isn't any. And then we're going to say, like, is the dialogue great? How are the props, special effects, wardrobe, makeup, music and sound, what we like the most, what we like the least, and then we're going to rate it. And this is not going to be spoiler free because the idea is that you guys already know to watch this in advance and you've watched it and now you're going to let us tell you all about it.
So let's jump right on in.
All right. So this is pretty cool. It is the feature debut of writer-directors Klaus Pearson and Karen Engman. So this is their first time out. Draug mixes familiar horror elements with mythology straight from an old Viking saga. The movie transports us to the 11th century Sweden, where a military contingent commanded by Lord Håkon, who's played by Ralph Beck, is searching for a missing missionary group, say that 5 times real fast, that vanishes somewhere in the vicinity of the ominous Oudmarden forest. Soldiers' orders are to find the missionaries, led by one of Håkon's old comrades in arms, or kill the insurgents who killed them. Among the searchers are Håkon's foster daughter, Nana, who's played by Elna Carlson, and she's been raised among the royal guards since she was orphaned in her early childhood. Nana does not remember her former life, but sometimes has strange visions and dreams that provide clues as to what became of her family. Spoiler alert, she's gonna find out. The trek leads the small group to another of Håkon's old friends, the drunkard and bullying sheriff Kettle, played by Thomas Hedegren, and accompanied by his consort companion, lovely slave Deja, Nina Filomushkina. Kettle is only too happy to join Håkon and the company in interrogating the locals, who in turn are only too happy to oppose the interlopers. Right off the bat, there's this tension build up between the two factions who are out trying to find these missionaries because the sheriff's kind of a dick, making things worse. So the good news is that Oudmarden, or Eskigamork, is a real forest.
But okay, so I wanted to say that the sheriff guy, my favorite character.
Yeah, he was a total dick.
Yeah, which is probably why he was my favorite character. He's just like, yeah, I drink a lot. I like beer, and let's fuck shit up. I mean, he was a terrible person at the end, but I mean, who isn't?
You're right. This whole thing takes place in Oudmarden, or Eskigamork, which is a real forest in the eastern coast of Sweden that separates the north from the south. Kettle Hogan's saga describes the place as 20 rest stops long and an evil trek. You had bandits, and we're talking about this is real life stuff. This is taken directly from the saga. You had bandits, wolves, bears. Not a nice place to roam around. On the other side of the forest was Hälsingland. In the 11th century, the Archbishop Bremen sent 6 missionaries to Sweden. One of them was Simeon, who traveled to Hälsingland. On his travels, Simeon decided to vandalize all the pagan sites along the way.
Sounds like a good idea.
He is a dick. The mostly heathen base of the north ran him down and stoned him to death. And before you think that's terrible, the Christians did some absolutely horrible things to Scandinavian heathens who refused to convert, including shoving a horn down the throat of Raud the Strong and forcing a snake down it.
I think that's like the 5th time you've said that specific example.
It feels like it because that's my example in this place only. It's actually only the 2nd time I've said it, but probably the 5th time I've told you about it.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, has never been on the podcast. Will be now, as long as this
No, I think
audio
it was.
doesn't suck. So Raoul the Strong's Remembrance Day, by the way, is January the 9th, in case anybody wanted to celebrate the feast day. Nearby to where Simeon was killed, an inn was built as a permanent place to rest before your trek into the forest. It is known as Tonnebra and sits on the European E4, which is built right on the Northern Trail, the main path through the Oudmarden. A particularly accident-ridden path just south of Tonnebra is called the Road of Death by locals.
Nice.
They say it is built on the Wittestrak or the Veetier White Path. So the ghost path. Yeah. And this is all real life stuff. This is where our story is taking place for real. I was very, very impressed with the plot because they stuck very close to the saga of Kettle. Now, where they veer off is that we've got the story of Nana and that Simeon, our missionary that's missing, may not have been killed or stoned to death by the pagans, but in fact was killed by something else.
Ooh, sounds spooky.
And we know what that something else was.
I mean, I do.
Well, yeah, I thought you were going to spoil it because you love to spoil the things.
Oh, Draug?
Right.
Which is the name of the movie. They kind of spoil it.
Well, that's fair enough. Yeah, they do.
Is that your overview?
That is the overview.
What's the next segment?
There is a plot twist in this that I caught on pretty quickly what was happening. And that is that we know that Nana is having these visions she's brought with, and we're going to find out that...
Wow, spoiler alert.
I told you that we're going to spoil the shit out of this.
I know, right? Oh,
because one of us can't keep his mouth shut. That's the reason that we're spoiling it.
Yes.
Because I could have just not said any of that stuff. I'm just going to go right through and, not even talked about the plot twist at the end. One of the biggest reasons that you wanted me to watch this film was because it does deal with Scandinavian heathenry.
Yes. I want to see how, from your perspective, how close they kind of got. Because there is a ritual near the end of... Well, There's actually two rituals that I know of. There's the one that Worm Cunt does. And then there's the one at the end, Nana.
Can't even fucking remember her name.
Look, I wasn't listening to the name. I was reading it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, let me talk about the rituals real quick. Actually, maybe I'll go back. Let's not talk... I'll take out the part where we spoil the twist.
That sounds great.
Yeah, we'll go into because that was the whole reason that you had me watch this was for that. So I've already told you guys the history behind it is spot on. The plot is perfect as far as that goes. This is me, and we forgot to kind of preface this by saying that this is a film that is in Swedish, so you're gonna have to read subtitles. Sorry.
Or you could learn Swedish.
Yeah,
one of the two, whatever's easier for you.
Yeah. Duolingo does have Swedish. Just gonna throw that out there if you want to learn.
# sponsor us.
It's not really that difficult. I did enjoy the ritual part. They did their homework. There's a lot of archaeological evidence to support the things that they actually had in the movie. So I can talk about that for 1 second here. There was an archaeological dig. It was at Fyrkat, Fyrkat. Oh, I'm sorry. It was in Denmark, near Hobro in Denmark. And it was a Viking woman who was buried in a wagon. They think that she was probably a high priestess of some kind, or the equivalent word would be vulva in heathen tradition. A seer is what it means, but it translates also as woman who holds a wand. And that comes up at the end of the movie, the ritual that's done at the end of the movie, where there is a wand of iron it looks almost exactly like the wand that they took out of this archaeological dig. It is so fucking cool. I was like, awesome. Thank you guys. You got it right. You did a great job. The first ritual, where the old woman sort of goes into a trance, that's probably henbane seed, which was found with this woman at the dig as well. What happens is you put the henbane into a fire, and it creates a hallucinogenic smoke, and then that's supposed to put you in a trance, sometimes a euphoric state as well. Definitely has a psychedelic effect, and you could see into the future. Very, very similar to oracles in ancient Greece. Now, this woman, she had a lot of really cool things that were also found with her, like a trinket box that might have actually come from Asia.
Oh.
Yeah, that gives you a bronze cup that was probably from Central Asia. So it's this idea that the Vikings had contact with Asia like long before anybody else did. And there was also a bowl too. And I thought that was kind of cool because the old woman uses that little bowl to put probably the henbane in that gives her that hallucinogenic sight. So that was spot on. And then the ritual at the end, when Nana discovers who she really is, and she puts this wand into the ground. The top of it has like a twist in it, but it's hollow. And it looks like she puts the henbane inside the hollow part and sets it on fire so that the smoke comes at her face, and then she sees her vision and realizes who she really is. Yeah, so pretty cool. Loved it. Good job, guys.
I'm glad you enjoyed that because it seemed like the rituals were both done well, but I don't know anything about that kind of shit. So I'm like, give it to Kiki.
Yeah, when I saw her pull the wand out, I was like, nice. That's so cool. So if we break it down from sort of the beginning of the film, I think you had said you liked that scene where they're fighting in the water.
Well, they weren't fighting. They were practicing drills.
Right.
But yeah, that was really cool. They did a lot of traveling on boats. You need to be strong swimmers. And you need to also kind of be able to fight while swimming. And then just the fact that they did that was really good to me because to me it showed like the historical knowledge. Swimming, and if you can fight underwater, you can fight on land. It's weight resistant. It's also endurance and cardio, which are two very important parts of combat training. I mean, most medieval fights would go on for hours. It takes a little bit to kill people.
So it's the 11th century. You've got Christianity already in there, but it's kind of like where the heathens are very much not wanting to give up their way of life.
It's kind of like, if I could, Kiki, for a moment.
Okay.
It's kind of like, Christianity's a boyfriend. And Switzerland. No, wait. Sweden. I'm stupid. Sweden is their girlfriend. And Sweden's already, okay, yeah, I'll give you a BJ. Okay, yeah, we can do vaginal. But Christianity, he still wants anal, and he's gonna get it. So that's kind of where we're at. They're pushing and pushing and pushing for it, and Sweden doesn't want it.
Parts of Sweden, parts
Sweden's
of Norway,
butt doesn't want it.
Parts of Denmark are not at all interested in Christianity. They're perfectly happy with what they have.
I like my analogy.
Yeah, it's great. Butt sex. It always winds up going back to butt sex with you in some way. I don't know what it is with you. Are you sure that you don't enjoy butt sex? Because you keep saying you don't, but then you won't shut up on it. And you know what? I have just decided that I don't want to know the answer. Okay, so we're good. Forget I asked the question. Håkon is technically our protagonist. And it becomes difficult for me down the road, though, when you realize what he's done to not still like him. And then he goes out pretty horribly. So it's the sheriff that I really don't like. And that guy is Kettle, Sheriff Kettle.
He was and is one of my preferred characters.
I know, you like him because he's an asshole.
I like him because he's a charismatic asshole. To be fair, though, he's living on the fringe of society, in and out. You don't have nice people. Girl. Yeah. It was Sweden in the 1100s. Lots of people probably. I bet your Harkin had 7. He was commander of the Royal Guard. To me, that's not what makes him an asshole, because I think he actually treated her pretty well.
But it's really funny how she's kind of just, yeah, okay, I'm a slave and I'm just dealing with it. And
well, that's because it's women in feudalism Europe. It sucks, but it's not like women rights and women freedoms were on the top of the list of things men gave a shit about.
Except this is Scandinavia, and as we know, women actually had the same rights as men, if not a little bit more.
Scandinavian women did.
Right. So it's interesting how you get to see that Nana has
she's in the Royal
carte
Guard.
blanche, right? Like she's been trained and everything. And then poor Deja's like, treated well. She's a slave.
Once again, I think he treated her
Totally
pretty well.
No, he did. He did. Except that you could tell that we'll get there.
I think she actually had a thing for him. Because
felt like at the end there when she, let's get to the end. Let's get toward the end, and I'll tell you what I think because you might have forgotten what she says at the end, and I was like,
maybe.
Oh, okay,
it's possible.
Well, I think she tolerated him.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay, so they go on the mission, and the first thing they run into is a band of bandits, very much like Kettle in the original saga talks about how this is not a good place to hang out at. The forest is riddled with them. I did enjoy this particular battle because it's not one of these like overly choreographed battles. It's like we are completely surrounded. We're kind of outnumbered. But because we are Royal Guard and we know how to defend ourselves very well, they showed the shield wall technique with just, 5 people?
I believe so.
They fought him back. They did have to run, but they defended themselves enough to where they could get away from that bandit attack and take a prisoner. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they killed way more than they lost.
Yeah, well, they didn't lose technically in the battle. They didn't lose anyone. That's fair. That one guy was hurt pretty bad. But.
Yeah.
Then there was the guy who was actually a pretty hot actor. Yeah, he got the arrow right through his cheek. That was pretty nasty.
Oh yeah, that guy was badass.
Yeah, I was kind of upset about the end for him. I was like, oh, dang it.
But yeah, I enjoyed that battle. Even the bandits were shooting with bows. And then they started using rocks, and you saw how the shield wall kind of adapted to that. It was just raising the shield or the shields. There was a person giving orders, and everyone followed the command in unison. And you could tell there was a lot of teamwork going on, which was something that the Vikings were well known for. A lot of their troops worked well together. One thing I didn't like about the entirety of it, but I get why they didn't do it, is there was no armor in any way, shape, or form worn by any character to my memory. And they would have, most of the Royal Guard, they should have at least had some kind of probably branded leather or metal bandit armor. Kind of like what, for you Game of Thrones peoples out there, what Stannis Baratheon wore, where it's plated iron on leather hide, especially if they were Royal Guards, because they would have had the more funding to have better armor. Otherwise, just chain or mail armor, because chainmail wasn't a word. I feel, and here's why I feel like they didn't have armor. It didn't add to the story, and having your actors in armor for a trip like that, it is incredibly excruciating. And that, so I do LARPing. So I wear armor on hikes. It's exhausting. If it's real steel, it's an extra 35 to 45 pounds for a shirt of chain. It's a lot. And I get why they didn't do it, because it's heavy and it didn't add it. The battles, the fight scenes, they were cool, but that's not what the movie was about.
Well, okay, if you're just looking at the time period, only the most wealthy at this point are going to be wearing chainmail. And yeah, I mean, that's true.
Yeah, Romans wore it. Lots of people had more chainish armor.
In Sweden in the 1100s. I'm telling you. I'm looking at it right now. That's what I'm saying, dude. I don't just make this shit up. I wanted to see, I was like, well, who's going to have the armor? It's your wealthiest people. and retainers are the ones who are really having the chainmail. Otherwise, for the most part, it's going to be cloth and leather armor. But I guess if you're trying to reconcile that in this movie in particular, maybe they felt like they didn't really need it because
they didn't.
If they're going into battle at all, it's the type of battle that we actually saw in that fight. It's just bandits who don't have any armor either.
Yeah, but you having armor is still a huge bonus.
Yeah, but if you don't have access to it, then you're going to have your cloth and leather armor anyway.
I feel like they should have at least had like some, once again, I get it. It's a pain in the ass and it's loud and it's obnoxious and it's heavy to have good looking armor in movies. I get what, and it wouldn't have added anything. Like it was completely fine without it. It was just something I noticed.
Yeah, and like you had said though, it's like taking that out though, it levels the playing field between your two as far as neither one of them having like heavy armor, but what did we see? We saw that the quote unquote royal guard was super awesome at working together.
Mm-hmm.
And they still walked away from that fight with minimal, even though there were like
wounds.
It was like 20 versus 5.
Yeah.
At least that's what it.
And it was an ambush
like.
of 20.
Right.
Which really, if you have an ambush, you should have an advantage even with equal numbers.
Right. And that just goes to show that they are true bandits. They're not really working together very well.
Yeah, they're level 2 warriors versus level 7 warriors.
Exactly. And they're outcasts of society. They're heathens, most likely, because the Christians didn't want them in town anymore. Oh, we didn't really touch on the fact that the first ritual done by the old woman, she's an outcast too. She's sick and she has all these sores on her legs and she's.
Are you talking about worm cunt?
Yeah, she's. I'm not saying that word.
I'm only saying it because it's what they refer to.
I know. No, it's fine. I know that you were enjoying it, so I'm letting you do that. That she was basically outcast as well, and she's living in a hut outside of everybody else. So you really got that sort of like Christianity is cutting off the heathens completely. They're either like, what's her name?
Worm cunt.
living in a shack and obviously desperately in need of some help, but nobody cares about her. Or you're living in the forest and you're like a nobody and getting your ass handed to you by five. I'm sorry, it's kind of funny. There's like 5 people, but technically one of them is a slave girl who still manages to beat the shit out of them. So that was really funny.
Yeah. I think she ended up using a rock to smash one of their heads in.
Technically it's 6. It was 6 of them altogether. Yes. So Nana, Kettle, Håkon, Gunder, Odd, and Cole are all the guys in the band. And then you have Deja who beat the. I mean, she went nuts. They had to like pull her away from that fight.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. See, and I felt like she was taking some of her anger out of being a slave, like on them,
Probably, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. It was a great moment. Go Deja. Anyway, yeah. And then you get to see Nana. She's fighting with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool. We start getting into the creepy stuff about right after this, where the forest is,
Because the bandits, they were chasing them and they stopped.
Yeah.
Because they knew something was up.
Yeah, and then the bandit that they capture is, oh, you know what? That's Cole. Odd, Gunder, Håkon, and Kettle. And then Deja and Nana. Okay, and then Cole is the one who winds up joining the party after because he's captured by them, so. Poor dude. So Odd gets fucked up pretty bad, and he's the first one to go down to the Draug. I always think of Draug, I think of Draugr from Skyrim, and like undead warriors who are able to, they still sort of have a mind of their own though.
Yeah.
And they attack people. Now this was a little bit more like a undead creature, but
in D&D terms, it was closer to a wight or a ghoul.
I would say more like a ghoul to me.
Yeah.
Able to invade the mind, and rather than hurting these people with like swords and stuff, they were invading their mind and getting them to basically kill themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That was fucked up. So when did you catch on to the twist here? Which I feel like right about Right after this, when Hakan and Kettle go into that cave,
Mm-hmm.
after Nana has seen some shit again, and Nana's like, I don't think you should go into that cave.
They go into the cave.
And they go into the cave.
Yeah, why would you? First of
God.
all, don't ever go into a cave. Just caves are bad. Caves are bad juju. So the cave scene, I want to talk about this for a moment.
Yeah, go ahead, because
Because this is
creepy.
where I'm going to reference The Exorcist, the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
The best jump scares I believe I've ever had was in Exorcist, the beginning. There's a part where the main character is chasing the person who is possessed through a cavern. And the caverns are very tight. He's elbows and knees crawling through. Now, this is based in the 50s, so he just has a flame lit lantern, like oil lantern, that he's using for light, and it goes out. So he's there, okay, tries getting it back on, gets it on, and there's the face of the possessed person, and that person just starts scratching the shit out of him. And I screamed when that happened. So, whenever I watch a movie that is based in a cave, my mind goes directly to that shit, and I just expect that scenario to happen because holy shit, that scared me.
I thought this was really well filmed
It was.
because you felt you were in that tight spot with them.
Yes.
Now, I'm gonna talk a minute about though, because some people will say, why, like even I at first was like, why the fuck are you going in there? Why? What? You have to remember that this, even though these people have converted to Christianity, they still very much have what I would say is the heathen mentality. And they do not fear death because there's nothing to fear in death. They know with certainty that they're going to be going, to most likely Valhalla, especially if they die in battle. So I feel like they were fearless. It's this like, we're going in there. First of all, they're not thinking that there's any magic at this point involved anyway. It's only the bandits. We're going to go in there. We're going to get them. We're going to kill them. And, problem solved. Hakan goes to the top of the hill and discovers that the missionary was dead.
Yes.
First. Yeah, we
the
kind of
cave
forgot
was
that
way
part.
after that. Cave is
Yeah.
like day 2.
I forgot about that. And that's the other thing too, is that they discover that the missionary is dead, and so now it's like, it's on. We have to kill these people because that is what the mission is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the missionary was killed by Draug. For them, it's the missionary was killed by these bandits, and now we have to go into this cave and we're going to go fucking kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, terrible things happen in the cave.
I mean, define terrible. Were they horrifying? Yes.
So
did people die? Most
yes.
definitely.
Horribly. Basically getting you to commit suicide by banging your head against a cave wall until you die. Yeah, that's pretty horrible. That's up there.
I mean, it's not in my top 10 ways of death. So
no. Top 10 ways of death. Well, that could be a side story for L by itself. Wow, JC's top 10 deaths.
Top 10 deaths.
Damn.
Oh.
We just came up with more ideas for you guys. Yeah. Okay, so we lose poor Hakan in the cave. Nana, I feel like, saw that coming, which is why she was telling him not to go in, because she's already feeling a connection to the Draug in some way.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's like just basic survival. Why would you chase this creature into where it wants you to go? And it obviously has the advantage.
Like I said, I don't think that the guys were on to the fact that this is a creature at this point.
Even if it's a person, you don't chase them because you don't know what you're walking into.
Yeah.
This is why I'm terrible at playing D&D.
Like, come into this game. No. It has treasure in it. No.
One time they trapped me in a room and I broke down the wall. I literally just mined a door into the wall and was like, oh, yuck, I'm out. Fuck with me. I'm a problem. Like, there was this big elaborate puzzle and I'm like, nah, I'm just going to go through the wall.
Maybe I'll just preface this by saying JC and Kiki are going to give you a movie review and it's bad. We're terrible at this.
No, I think we're doing okay.
No, we're doing okay. I just completely
you can
forgot
edit
about
whatever out.
I know it's going to be such a bitch. We lose Hawken. We've lost Odd at this point. Deja seems to be kind of like going on her way out. This is where I can talk a little bit about how the special effects are for this. It's a lot of like that dark blue red overtone thing going on, like a filter over the camera lens. Sometimes I couldn't even see what the hell was going on exactly. It was kind of like watching a Batman versus Superman when I was like, it's just a dark film. And I love that meme where like, it's a dark film. And they're like, I know, it's because no, I'm literally, it's fucking dark. I can't fucking see what the fuck is going on. Is that Batman? Is that Superman? It kind of had that. This is the only complaint that I have about this film. There were some times when it was literally too fucking dark for me to see exactly what it was that was attacking people or what was going on because of the filter.
Yeah.
I mean, I get in the end why they did it, but like the color scheme is actually sort of important.
Well, there's a difference from like making it that it's dark and it's hard to see and then to give the creature an element. But then there's also, we're just going to make the whole movie dark. Yeah. Like when it's a filter that's basically on the entirety of the movie, like that's just not a great decision.
At least this didn't have this. It was definitely an effect for the creature. But it looks like when it came for Deja that she basically is like, take me. You know? Which I took as, you know what, I'm so sick of being a fucking slave. Like, get me the fuck out of here. I'm out.
She fought to defend her life against the bandits. So why would she not have thrown herself on a sword? I think that the creature kind of lowered her will to live.
So yeah, possibly.
That it wasn't like Deja just doing her thing. Like it wasn't her on a normal day. It was she was already being manipulated by this being.
Or if you're looking at it from a magic perspective and she's Celtic and maybe realizes what this thing is and that she can't fight it and she's just like, check please, I'm out.
That's fair. That's a possibility.
Anyway, yeah, so she kind of was like, I'm done. We lose her. And then I think we're finally getting to that like sort of the sweet spot here at the end where it's revealed
that Nana is the child of the Draugs.
Yeah.
And that she was taken at a young age by Harkin the Terrible.
Yeah.
Who killed her parents for witchcraft.
Yeah.
And then took her basically as a slave, quote unquote, because where was she going to go? What was she going to do otherwise? But he took her as, well, I was victorious. Now you belong to me. Did he treat her well? Sure. But she was his property. I guarantee,
this is where I feel like Hawken couldn't kill the child. Could not kill her. Couldn't bring himself to do it. And that's sort of insinuated from Kettle, basically calling him like a coward that he couldn't, do the deed.
I mean,
takes her in, and she's not a slave. Like he's given her all the same rights, but he figures that he's brought her up as a Christian. I mean, she's wearing a cross until the end when she's like, fuck this shit. I'll bring her up though as a Christian and everything will be okay. Because she's so young, like I can mold her into the new society that other people are just willingly like turning over and being like, all right, fine, whatever. The gods are dead, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So the theme here is definitely Christians versus heathens, 100%. And
who would you say won this?
In the end, the heathen got her vengeance anyway. There was no final girl. Which I liked the plot twist at the end too, was not just that Nana is this heathen child that should have been killed off and gotten rid of, and that unbeknownst to her really converted into a Christian her whole life and then taught how to fight, but that she remembers her past and remembers who she was or who she should be, and then uses that magic to basically kill Kettle. Kettle he's strangling her, but there's this moment where she's like, that's fine. I'm going to die and I'm going to become a Draug. I'm going to fucking kill you because there's nothing that can stop me after that. And then we have a final boy instead of a final girl because poor Cole is just the only one left.
What a day for him. What a couple of days. Like,
dude.
Whoo, buddy.
He's just a dude in a band, like probably a heathen, like I said. Probably did kill the missionary. Who knows if they stuck with that side of it, that he kind of got stoned to death. Again, that was a little dark because it was nighttime-ish when that discovery was made. So it was like, was he, obviously corpses. Yeah, so maybe he stoned some dude to death and he's like, I just wanted some food and then I got injured and then I got waterboarded. I forgot about that. And then
oh yeah, they did do that.
I was like, I fucking got waterboarded and tortured. And then I almost got killed by a Draug. And then I kind of fell in love with this girl, but then she died and then she killed that guy. It was funny because here I am watching the end of the film and I'm like, so there's got to be some kind of addendum, right? So then Cole wakes up and he's just in this canoe in the water.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, like that's it. He doesn't get back. Like, what happens to Cole? Like, where does he go?
He goes downstream.
Yes, he's safe, because then everything has been avenged and then the Draug can move on to the afterlife.
I think another more real world paranormal term for what the Draug are kind of like are wraiths. Because we
we
talk about them with like not Egyptian, ancient Mesopotamian ghosts that like out of vengeance would come back?
Yeah, they just didn't use the word wraith, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of.
Yeah, I forget what it was called. Because I listen.
I do right now actually totally forget the name of all that
That's
stuff.
fine. I don't expect you to like look it up.
So
at the same time, if you don't look it up.
I swear I'm not actually phoning this in. I wrote everything out, but.
Yeah, I just throw random questions and like connections and shit.
This has been a day. So overall, let's say, dialogue, well, was it good? I had to read it. So
yeah,
it was good for the reading part of it.
Yeah.
And I tell people watch a movie in its original language and read the subtitles because a lot is lost in translation. And you're going to feel like I said this before, JC, but it's because I said it in the other one. When I'm watching Japanese horror films, I have to listen to the Japanese being said and just read the subtitles. There was one time I did the experiment. I started watching The Ring or Ringu, and I did like a comparison, like, okay, here's a sentence. Okay, fine. I read it. Now I'm going to play it back, but with the subtitles. It was so bad. I was like, that's not, no, or it was without the subtitles with them speaking English. And I was like, that's not even close to what it was. What? Yeah, so I don't like to listen to dub overs at all, personally. I learned my lesson early on.
That's something I like about horror in general. It's not usually dialogue heavy.
Yeah, it's a lot more about the action and about the fear buildup and about the visuals.
Yeah. That's not to mean there aren't like genres of horror that like thrive off the dialogue.
Psychological thrillers. A little bit of both for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so props. I already said I loved the props used were great. There were a couple of little, and you can find these on IMDb. There was a couple of little snafus, and they actually had to do with clothing. I looked for this too because I kind of read about the goofs before. When they capture Cole, it looks like he's wearing like regular straight-legged jeans almost, rather than like the leggings that they normally would have worn. And that could have just been like a afterthought and wardrobe issue. Yeah. There's a lot that has to go on a set in order for you to make sure that everybody has the right thing all the time. There's a props master. There's wardrobes people. There's reasons why these guys get awards because things can get missed, things can go awry. But overall, not a big deal for that at all. I thought the wardrobe was fine, and if I hadn't been looking for that particular little goof, I would have never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So wardrobe, makeup, fine. Again, not didn't really have to go into it much for this one because it's very drab. It's the 11th century. It's fighting garb. Music and sound. I thought the music was actually really cool for this.
Yeah, I did too.
I
And
enjoyed it.
sound effects.
Yeah, it was really cool, especially the music around the spookiness of it and just walking through the forest and all that. That really good sound effects. So I don't know what I liked the most. Probably the attention to detail for the historical and the ritual stuff. And like I said, the thing that I liked the least was maybe a little bit too heavy on the darkness in certain parts of it, but not enough to destroy the film for me.
For me, I enjoyed watching people murder people. The Royal Guard, even the bandits, they used good fighting techniques and weapons, and because you didn't see the bandits all with swords. They had spears, bows, like things that
Yeah.
would have been more for the peasantry. Whereas swords, that's for soldiers. Like if you have a sword, you're. And then the thing I like the least, probably the same as you. Like I hate to like piggyback, but yeah, just some things were difficult to see, and it was a little rough.
But if you figure that this is
Their first movie.
right, it's like their first movie and the first time that they've written the movie as well to get it this good,
Yeah, they
on
did
the
a good
first
job.
go. It doesn't happen very often.
No.
And so far, the ratings that I've seen from other people are also about a 4 out of 5, and that's where I'd put it as well. So it's very near perfect for a first go. Well done.
Yeah, I will also give a 4 out of 5 because it was a very enjoyable movie. I think if you are, well, I mean, hopefully everyone listening to this has already watched it, but if you haven't and you enjoy like medieval horror, give it a go.
Watch all the things, read all the things, and good luck on your dice rolls.